Welcome to BJJ Boost episode 6. My name is Chad Hawkins, and I really do appreciate everybody who has taken the time to dive into this app, to dive into this podcast, and to dive into this process and this idea to expand their life and expand themselves inside of Jiu-Jitsu. I want to get into a little bit of the life journals today, and I want to kind of dive into the areas of I want to show our merchandise site so that you guys can kind of see like what merchandise we carry. Last episode we had a call with Chris and we kind of dove into his life, which was a really cool experience. I enjoyed that phone call. So I encourage you to download the app, to hold yourself accountable, to start hitting daily goals, and to start expanding your life, and to take off the mindset that it's too much or it's too overwhelming. Because like, here's the thing, this last couple of days I've been in like a really big pit or fog, and I've been trying to climb out of it. And if you're putting the pressure on yourself that you have to accomplish everything every day and be perfect, you're gonna fail. Okay, so the purpose of the app isn't for you to get overwhelmed and to hate life and to be angry and to be miserable. It's for you to hit daily tasks that improve your life in just small little ways. So I encourage you to download the app, to use the app, and to, if you're using the app now, book one-on-one calls. Okay, I've had 2 one-on-one calls now, and it's a free service. One day it's going to cost money. One day, when there's hundreds of people holding themselves accountable and improving their lives on and off the mats, it's going to cost, and you're going to wish that you would have used the service when it was free. So it's very easy. If you're inside the app, you just go to the one-on-one coaching and you book a call, and we will sit down and discuss whatever it is that you want to discuss to help get your life to the next level. Okay? So with that, I want you guys to also think about, I've talked to a few users, I've watched users inside the app now, and the 2 main things that I run into is, one, it's too much, right? Like not the cost, because honestly, like if the cost is too much for you, I was paying $149 a month for a service to hold me accountable to hitting daily tasks and trying to make myself a better person. And you could say, well, that's crazy, or you can say, I don't need an app. I don't need an app. I don't need a daily task. I'm great with where I'm at. And I get that. Okay, I spent my entire life being at that place. I spent my entire life not needing any type of accountability, right? And at 39 years old, 38 years old, I was so lost and I was existing in such a bad place. And on paper, it looked great. On paper, I looked successful. And I think that's where we are a lot as humans. Like, in our minds, we think we're great. We think we don't need some type of help. We don't need some type of counseling. We don't need some type of app. We don't need some type of daily task. And yet, we find so much value once we actually get outside our comfort zone and start to seek these things. So I think you need to take off the pressure inside your head of trying to figure out the app in one day, or trying to figure out the app in 1 month, or whatever it is. Because here's the process. If the app could be accomplished in 1 day, if the app could be achieved success in 1 day, what's the value of the app? Okay, why do you need the app? So the app is designed in a way that I never imagined that it would work, but for you to hit daily goals and see progression. Okay, they're not hard tasks. So they take 5 minutes at the most per task, and I can run you through that really simply. One of the tasks is to choose a person in your life. Okay, and you can say, well, I do that already. I already tell people that I am grateful for them. I already appreciate people. I already go out of my way and I do things for other students, or I do things for my family. But like, you have to look at it in a way beyond the way that you're existing, right? You have to reframe your mind to say, I'm doing motions right now, and if you actually, it's kind of like when I started taking actual accountability for how many rounds I was live rolling, or how many reps I was drilling a month. I never tracked that, but now that I'm tracking that, I'm actually finding myself trying harder to hold myself accountable to actually showing up. Okay? So, what you think and what you are doing are two completely different things. And that's the problem. Okay? You think you're showing up. You think you're doing the right things. You think that you have it all set, and you're moving in a good forward motion in your life. But the reality is, if you really put it down on paper, if you really put some thought into it and you actually write down what you're doing daily, you would be shocked that you're maybe only showing up 10% of the time or 20% of the time. So think about it like this. Choosing one person a day is not that hard of a task. Okay? Whether that's choosing somebody in your family, choosing someone on the mats, choosing someone just on the street, whatever it is, taking the actual time to think about it, not just doing the motions, not saying, hey, I love you, honey, hey, I appreciate you, thanks for today. Like, really think about why you love that person. Really think about why you cherish that person. Really think about how that person's shown up in your life, or whatever the case is. Genuinely think about it. This doesn't take all day. Like, you can spend 2 or 3 minutes every day trying to think about one person in your life, and then appreciate them and give gratitude to them, right? And then on the app, okay, if it's a text message or a messenger or whatever the case is, all you have to do is screenshot the message. You check in for your person for the day, and then after you've checked in, you've put the screenshot in there, you get your 1 point for the day, so you can see exactly where you're at, and say, you know what, I didn't choose someone today. Or, like, I do a lot of things throughout the day where I give people compliments, or I encourage them, or I talk to them, but I can't count any of that as my daily task, because those are things that I'm already doing as a person, right? Like, the point of the app is that we see whatever becomes our daily existence, okay? We can't count that. We have to go above that and beyond. So once you check in the daily task for your person for the day, you then jump over to the content tab and you find daily tasks, and you just click complete, and you get your achievement for choosing a person for the day. And that might sound silly, but like, genuinely think about, like, it's 300 plus people a year that you're choosing, right? I mean, if you're hitting it every day, it's 365 people. I mean, it would be great. I know that again, don't set the level of perfection that you have to achieve everything every day and then lose your mind or lose your soul in the process. But like, if you're choosing 365 people a day to genuinely think positive about in today's world, how can that not have a ripple effect in the people in your life, right? Like, I notice in the app now, and I notice in the people that I'm talking to, I see them starting to make the shift, right? And now they're sending me some messages of encouragement, of how I've helped them, how things have been positive for them. So how can that be wrong or bad? How can that be difficult to spend 5 minutes a day and do that task? Okay, and that's one task that I think is probably one of the most valuable things inside of this app. So making the appointment to have a one-on-one call, choosing somebody in your life every day, okay? Another thing that I'm seeing a lot of is people are starting to exist in the app, right? Like, don't do the motions and don't try to accomplish all of it, like I said, okay? Find areas to grow a little bit each day in the app, okay? If you were going to start building a house, you can't just give up on the house because you lay 2 or 3 boards down, right? If you're going to start jiu-jitsu, you can't just give up on jiu-jitsu because you just got tapped out 2 or 3 times. If you're going to start a family, you can't quit on the family, right, when the first fight happens. And the truth of that is I probably have done a lot of those things in my life where I've quit at the start line because I didn't have the accountability and I didn't have the structures in place to allow me to keep moving forward and to get my life to the next level. So slow your mind down and take a breath and relax, okay? Don't overthink the app. Start with choosing one person a day. Start with finishing your profile. Start with doing 1 or 2 boot camp processes a day, okay? And then after 5 months, after 6 months, look at where you're getting as far as how you're mastering the app, how you're mastering your life, how you're showing up in your family, how you're showing up on the mats, okay? I'm creating this app, I'm creating this lifestyle because I want to show up better for my family. I want to show up better for my students. I want to show up better for my career. And I can't do that by just existing in the same motions and being the same person and think that things are going to level up. Okay? So another task is the journals. Okay? I know that some people are taking the journal serious. Some people are not even diving into the journals. And here's the thing, okay? I can tell you from experience that journaling was not my thing. It wasn't the thing that I enjoyed. It wasn't the thing that I wanted to do. But it's the thing now that I'm doing 1 journal on God every day. I'm doing 1 journal on my life every day. And it takes 5 minutes. It takes 5 minutes to do the process. But I know in myself that there is frustration. I know in myself that there's anger. I know in myself there's guilt. I know in myself that there's sadness. I know in myself that there's happiness. I know in myself that there's gratitude. There's ups and downs, okay? If you don't have that in your life, then and you have only happiness and everything's great and your life is perfect and it's running the exact way you want it to run, then all the power to you. But for me, there's a battle inside of me daily, okay? And I feel like inside of a lot of us, there's a battle daily for us to figure out how to show up, okay? I know that I struggle with this greatly as far as the motivation and the ability to show up in my home, show up with God, show up with my family, show up with my business, show up with my body, showing up with taking care of every part of my life that needs to be taken care of. You have to find a way to show up and to hold yourself accountable, okay? And the life journaling has helped me process these thoughts and these emotions, and it's allowed me to get outside of my head, right? Like so many times I feel like we get stuck having insecurities or jealousy or envy or frustrations, or we feel like we're getting nowhere in our life. And as I journal, I can get these feelings down on paper or in the computer basically. And I can say, all right, this is all the emotions, this is where I'm at. And then I can take out one piece of that of how I can start to fix it. And then I can grow from there, right? But if I'm just existing, if I'm just playing video games, I'm sitting on the couch watching TV all day, I'm doing the motions and I'm walking from point A to point B, I'm gonna be in complete chaos. I'm gonna be lost, okay? And as you start doing these processes and you start creating these new systems, you're gonna have issues, okay? It's like anything. I had one of my students say, well, I feel like I'm starting over. He's been training for like a year and his game's getting better, but then I have him adjust and pivot to start doing new processes in his game, and he's like, "Well, I feel like I suck again. I feel like I'm not getting good. I feel like I'm not improving in jiu-jitsu." Well, no, you're starting over. Okay? We as humans, I think sometimes we look at the exact thing that we're working on and we categorize it into one large thing, right? So like we look at our jiu-jitsu and we get a little bit of success for a moment, for a few months or 6 months or a year. We have a little bit of success, and then when we change something, we get frustrated because we're not immediately good at it. Okay? And the same thing with relationships, the same thing with anything that you're doing. You're gonna put, let's say I do close guard for 6 months and I get decent at close guard, and then I switch to open guard and now I'm starting over. Well, I can't say I suck at jiu-jitsu. I can't say that I suck at whatever it is. I'm adding a new system into my life, right? So now I have my close guard, and I like where that's at, and it's getting better. But now I'm gonna add open guard, right? And then I'm gonna spend 6 months on open guard, and then I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna go on to escaping bad positions, and I'm gonna spend 6 months there. These are all systems in place. When you switch and you pivot to a new one, it doesn't mean that you suck at jiu-jitsu or you're starting over. It means that you're adding a new system. And the same thing goes for your relationships. The same thing goes for anything that you're going to do in life. So anytime you start adding these new systems, it's going to have a massive learning curve. And if you just immediately give up on it right when you start the process, you're never going to get the benefits and the full success and the full potential out of your life, because you're going to hit walls. And if you're not hitting walls inside your life that you need to tear down and build a new foundation upon, you're gonna just exist. Okay? So I want to dive into this process real quick. Let's look at it. It's just a journal, right? Like, I don't think a lot of people, like, we have the jiu-jitsu journals, okay? And each one of these journals is guided, okay? It's guided in a very nice way. The monthly blueprint and the blueprint recap, they take 5 minutes, and you only have to do them once a month. But do them and hold yourself accountable. And then hit some of these jiu-jitsu journals, but the real ones that I want people to more dive into as well, because here's the thing, the app isn't just an app for your jiu-jitsu, it's an app for your life. It's an app to, if your life's not in order, right? If your life's not in order and your job's not in order, and all these little other things going on inside of your life are not in order, your jiu-jitsu will not be in order, okay? So you have to go beyond more than just jiu-jitsu, right? Like they say, jiu-jitsu isn't just a sport. It's not just a hobby. It's a lifestyle. It's teaching you valuable lessons that you can apply in all areas of your life. So if you're not taking the band-aids off and diving into the other areas of your life and holding yourself accountable and becoming a better person, right? Then jiu-jitsu is not working. It doesn't matter the physical part of it. It doesn't matter how many people you tap out or how many techniques you learn. If you're not evolving as a human to be a better version of yourself, you're cheating yourself, okay? So take the time to dive into each one of these journals, okay? They're very simple. They take 5, maybe 10 minutes, depending on how much you dive into them. But it's not, you have to be able, there's one thing that you can find every day, okay? Like, you can't tell me that there's not something every day that you can journal about inside your life and try to get to the next stage or the next level of that point, okay? And that might feel like it puts your life into a little bit of craziness, but I can tell you this, sitting down, playing video games, and sitting on the couch and doing the same motions over and over again and having all these little areas of craziness and frustration in my life, and at the end of it to feel like I wasn't fully getting anywhere, to now like the craziness is coming with more fulfillment. It's coming with more joy because I'm able to actually start figuring out who I am and where I want to go and what I want to build and how I want to show up in my family or how I want to show up on the mats. And that took a long time to figure that out. But I would rather do that every day, right, than to go back into the same frame of mind that I was before, where I was just kind of like existing or just running through the motions of life. So dive into these journals and look more into the actual like emotional side of your game and unlock the areas that you're holding yourself back from, okay? And then the daily tasks, like I said, it's not hard to choose one person a day, right? You can see every day that you've chosen a person, okay? Holding yourself accountable. You can see where you're at, how you're showing up, okay? I'm at 77 check-ins right now since I've launched the app. I can see exactly where everybody else is at and how many days it's been since they've decided to check in. And this is where I want us to start improving, right? To start actually taking the time to show up. And if we won't take the time to show up in the app, are we really taking the time to show up in our life? Okay? Think about that. Like, you can say, well, I don't need the app. The app takes too much time. I can do it by myself, right? But here's the thing. If you couldn't even hold yourself accountable, but to check in 1 or 2 or 3 times, right? You could only check in 1 or 2 or 3 times, and then it's been 20, 30, 40 days, 50 days, whatever the case is, since your last check-in on an app that takes 5 minutes. You really think that you're going to show up in your life and hold yourself accountable to making actual growth and to breaking through the barriers that are holding you hostage? Okay, so think about that. The other thing I want you to look into is on the app, we do have a merchant site. You can go and you can purchase any of these items. We have shaker cups now, we have rash guards, we have our t-shirts, and if you want access to like any of our instructional content, we have an instructional by Chad Hawkins, we have an instructional by Derek Harris. We also have our sword quest, where you'll obtain a backpack after you accomplish that quest. So I just want you to understand that I want people to be rewarded when they're holding themselves accountable and they're hitting daily tasks. Okay? That's the whole purpose of designing this app. I designed the app so that we could expand as a team and a community. Okay? And I'm starting to see people show up in the app, and I appreciate it because I love seeing the growth that you are having. Okay? I love hearing your stories. I love being able to go into the daily task tab and see how you held yourself accountable for that day and what you were able to achieve or to unlock inside of yourself. And I want to see more of it. Okay? That's it. I want to see you show up, and I want to see you hold yourself accountable, and I want us as a community to improve our jiu-jitsu and to improve our lives. So book the one-on-one call. If you don't have the app, go download the app on iOS or Google Play. It's BJJ Boost. And I appreciate you guys watching these episodes, and I want to see your success, and I want to hear your success. So go out and get started on holding yourself accountable today and take off the pressure of it being overwhelming, and start with choosing one person in your life to give appreciation to for this day. All right? Have a great day, and I will see you guys in the next episode.